Do you start the year with resolutions? Not everyone does, but I love to start the year with a fresh set of goals. I take it as a time to rethink and reset, but what makes a good goal? Have you set any goals for this year? And if so, how are you doing with yours? Did you pick good goals or the right goals? Do you even remember what they were? Some plans can be abandoned pretty quickly, yet others do stay. Did you write yours down? I find writing things down at least makes me go back and think about where I thought I was going. I have some other tips I use to keep track with my goals, and I want to share how I use story writing techniques to do it. There are many reasons humans love to share stories, but one is definitely because we find the underlying patterns in stories resonate with us at a very deep level. You can examine stories across time and cultures and find similar underlying structures. At the beginning, a character is facing a problem or situation that needs change, some sort of a challenge, then a middle where they set out to resolve it. They will have troubles to overcome along the way and will learn new skills and will either succeed or at least have learned much on their journey by the resolution of the story. You can find these kinds of universal story structures described in writing guides, maybe the hero's journey or the 3-act or 5-act structure. They are tools writers use because they can help make stories more focused and also more engaging. This is why when I've let my ideas ramble about a bit, I will return to story structure and bring everything back to remind myself of the point of the story. What was the character's goal again? I want the reader to cheer when things are going well for my hero. I want the reader to follow and sympathise with most of the mistakes being made. I want the reader to want everything to turn out well. And to do that, the reader needs to understand the main character and see their goals. And in that, I include what I call the subconscious why. Why does your character feel the need to set out on this journey? I like the reader to understand the main character, their goals, their motivations. What about the consequences of failure, otherwise known as the stakes of the story? I like the reader to understand because sometimes even characters don't understand their own motivations. Understanding what a goal means to a character is why a reader gets involved in their struggles, because if you're not sure about the dream, then how will your dream come true? Having these basics lined up so I know what they are really helps me to write a story that readers can relate to. When editing, if I keep the character's goals in mind, it helps me to notice if the story veers off course or loses some focus. Your character might say they want to achieve something, but then it all gets a bit tough. Sometimes something distracts them and they think perhaps they'd rather have a cup of tea. Too many cups of tea does not make for good reading. You need someone to remind your character that they have goals and prod them back on course. You need consequences to failure. Your character needs to get tough and recommit to the goals and get going. Readers like stories that make progress, so get them on the hook to be with the hero for the journey by showing them the progress. How does this help me with my personal goals, you might ask? Maybe it's because reading about how characters approach and overcome problems is one of the reasons I love stories. My writing will involve working out what my hero needs to learn and deal with in order to achieve what they set out to do. When I set my own goals, I will ask myself how clear I am about them. I try to think about the likely obstacles that are standing in the way of my reaching my goals. I try to write them down. I try to come up with achievable objectives and a good time frame and find a way to show or mark progress. Sometimes the steps I decide I need to take to reach my main objective become my micro goals, like a series of stepping stones with that goal in the distance. Sometimes micro goals are even simply habits that I want to form that I know will help me to get there. So a goal to get fitter for me would be too much of a woolly goal, where I can't measure the progress or feel I am crossing those stepping stones on a secure path to success. But a goal to do 100 minutes of exercise a week is a good solid stepping stone. It's a goal I can recommit to if I veer off the path and decide I'd rather sit down and have a cup of tea. Sometimes you have to get tough with yourself. If I identify active steps I can take towards any goal, it does make that big faraway dream a bit more real and achievable. Here are some examples of stepping stones, micro goals that will help me to reach my main goal, which is to end the year having written a better book than the one I wrote last year. To write 250 words every day, or maybe 2,000 every week, with an ultimate goal to have a novel by the end of the year. Read a book a month in the style and genre that I really admire, to analyse what the writer does really well and help shape my own writing. To find hopeful, positive and knowledgeable people to work with and interact with, to give me injections of creativity and boost any flagging confidence. To take a class or read a book or listen to a podcast aimed at improving a particular aspect of writing. Experiment with writing something in a different genre or aimed at a new audience. In the end, aren't we all heroes of our own stories? It's not only our characters that have dreams and challenges. Can you plot out your own path to success like you would plot out the hero's journey in a story?